Hey, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Freakeasy Gaming and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about what is the next title coming from Bethesda Game Studios. And what I mean by this is now that Fallout 4's lifespan is kind of over and the last DLC was released about 2 months ago, what is the next title coming from the amazing developer known as Bethesda Game Studios? Now guys, before I get any further into the video, I would like to explain a small difference between Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda, as some people do get them confused when I do talk about them in my videos. Some people assume Bethesda is Bethesda Game Studios, which is not true, and I just sort of want to clarify the difference between Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda before I get any further into this video. Now guys, I'm going to try to be as quick as possible with this clarification so we could get into the main part of the video. But the difference between Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda is that Bethesda is a publishing company sort of like Activision. Now, Bethesda does own Bethesda Game Studios, but they are sort of run separately. They are separate entities. But Bethesda does own Bethesda Game Studios, but they are kind of not the same company. And Bethesda Game Studios is sort of an in-house game maker for Bethesda. They make games like Fallout 4 and the Elder Scrolls. Now guys, I know that little explanation was quick, but I hope you guys do understand that Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda are not the same company. So with that said, let's get into the video. Now guys, what is the next title coming from Bethesda Game Studios? This is a really hard question to answer, including that Bethesda Game Studios has not given us any information regarding their next title. Now, for those of you that do follow Bethesda Game Studios games, you know that they are very famous for keeping things under wraps until they are ready to reveal something. We hardly have leaked information from Bethesda Game Studios ever, and usually we never know what Bethesda Game Studios is going to announce next. So it's really hard to sort of tell what the next game is going to be from Bethesda Game Studios, but we can make some predictions. Now, what most people probably think is that the next title coming from Bethesda Game Studios is The Elder Scrolls 6. And since Bethesda Game Studios has released a Fallout game and an Elder Scrolls game and a Fallout and an Elder Scrolls game, or an Elder Scrolls and a Fallout game, whichever one you prefer, but they sort of follow that pattern of releasing the Elder Scrolls and Fallout for a very long time, and most people would assume that the Elder Scrolls 6 would come after Fallout 4. However, this is not true. In fact, Bethesda Game Studios has 2 games planned before they will even start work on the Elder Scrolls 6. And Pete Hines actually said this in an interview with IGN, and here's the quote. Hines also told IGN, the studio has 2 major projects, the major games that they are planning on doing before they get to an Elder Scrolls 6. During February's DICE Summit, Howard said Bethesda was planning on 3 longer-term projects. It now appears likely that the Elder Scrolls 6 is the third of these projects, with 2 significant unannounced titles beforehand. Now guys, in that interview with Todd Howard, he does say that Bethesda Game Studios does have 3 projects in the works at the moment. Now, this was a while back, and I'm pretty sure nothing has changed since then. Now guys, I'm going to read the interview to you guys where Todd Howard says that they are working on 3 projects, and here it is. We are busier now than we have ever been. We have all the DLC going for Fallout, we are overhauling the survival mode, and that's some of the most fun I've ever had when playing the game. It really changes it, said Howard. It's harder, but it's more than that. It just makes it different. We actually have 3 longer term projects we're doing that are all, we'll talk about them at a future date, but they're different from anything we've done before, while also being Bethesda style game, big and crazy, but in many ways different than things we've done before. and it's an exciting time. Now guys, Pete Hines and Todd Howard have both said multiple times since those interviews a couple of months ago that there will be 2 major projects before The Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. So odds are that the next game from Bethesda Game Studios will not be The Elder Scrolls 6. It will be some unknown mystery title. Now, when this was originally announced, people thought these major projects were DLCs for Fallout 4, because at the time of these interviews, the DLCs for Fallout 4 had not been released, and a lot of people thought that these 3 major projects were just DLCs. However, Pete Hines later sort of cleared up this for everyone when he said this in an interview with IGN. The news builds on a statement yesterday by Bethesda studio head Todd Howard that 2 other large projects are in the works. Today, Hines elaborated it and commented on the scale of Bethesda's planned undertakings, telling IGN that he, Todd Howard, said for sure that he's got 2 other projects. I'm just making sure folks understand, like, that doesn't mean he is going to spit out a DLC and another DLC and we're head faking. Like, I need you folks to understand that we're talking about big games like Skyrim and Fallout 4 and a Fallout 3, and those don't just happen. So guys, we know whatever Bethesda Game Studios title comes out next, it is going to be a big title like Fallout 4 and The Elder Scrolls. But it is not going to be another Fallout or another Elder Scrolls. It's going to be something entirely different while being the same Bethesda style game that we all know and love. Big open world and crazy. And that thing that we just read too also sort of dismisses the possibility of one of these projects being a mobile game, because he says they're big games like Skyrim and Fallout 4 and Fallout 3. So the possibility of him have talked about a DLC or a mobile game are sort of out of the question. And we know whatever title Bethesda Game Studios is going to release next is obviously going to be a big one, but it's not going to be The Elder Scrolls 6. And in sort of the most recent article published about The Elder Scrolls 6 was in June 2016, and I'm about to read a little excerpt from this article, so here we go. We aren't working on The Elder Scrolls 6 at the moment, he told a fan recently, before adding that Elder Scrolls 6 was still years and years away and wasn't close enough to be given an estimated release date. Now guys, it was Pete Hines who said that, so it seems definitely now The Elder Scrolls 6 is not the next title coming from Bethesda Game Studios. And that leaves one question. What is this title coming from Bethesda Game Studios? Well, people have come up with a few ideas and a few rumors. The one backed by the most evidence, the rumor backed by the most evidence, or the idea backed by the most evidence, is a game called Starfield. Now, according to basically anyone who's reported on this, this was copyrighted and trademarked by Bethesda, and a lot of people think that this is the name of the next title for the next Bethesda Game Studios game. And the last time we heard anything about Starfield was a while back, and we haven't really heard anything regarding this since. Now, since then, Todd Howard and Pete Hines have both been in multiple interviews and been asked about the game Starfield. However, they have, I guess, Bethesda Game Studios has gotten smarter, and basically they neither confirm nor deny any trademarks or copyrights. So there is no way to tell if this Starfield game is actually true or not. And even with that said, I do not think Starfield is going to be the next Bethesda Game Studios title. It was trademarked sort of recently, so I think that'll be the second title that Bethesda Game Studios releases, and then The Elder Scrolls 6. So the question still remains, what is the next title coming from Bethesda Game Studios? And there's a lot of rumors and speculation surrounding that also, as it was with Starfield. There is something called Fallout New Orleans that recently got trademarked, which somebody found in the European patent system or trademark system. I forgot which one it was. Now, although I would like to see another Fallout game, because there are many people who were disappointed with Fallout 4. I highly doubt Bethesda Game Studios would release 2 Fallouts back to back. If anything, if another Fallout game is going to come out, I believe it's going to be made by Obsidian Entertainment, the same people who made Fallout New Vegas. Now guys, there's a lot of possibilities for the next Bethesda Game Studios title, but we don't have any information on it, which does suck. It could possibly be Starfield, it could possibly be another Fallout, but I think that is highly unlikely. So at this point, the next Bethesda Game Studios game could be anything. Some people have speculated that it's going to be sort of like a Red Dead Redemption game, a big old western open world to explore. I have heard even talks about some zombie speculation. The most, I guess you could say, likely thing that could happen with the evidence we have is that a game called Starfield will come out. Now, by the title of it, it sounds like it's going to have to do with space. Now, obviously, a space game could be very open world, very big, and very crazy. And if made by Bethesda Game Studios games, I believe a game set in space could be really awesome. Anyways guys, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please post those in the comment section down below, and I will try to reply to each and every single one of them. Even if you guys just comment to say hello, I will try to comment back. If you guys have any ideas on what the next Bethesda Game Studios game might be, comment that down below. I'm really interested in hearing your guys' thoughts. Anyway, I love each and every single one of you. I hope to see you guys right back here tomorrow, and remember, stay freaky.